Food security is an issue that's really near and dear to Chinese leaders' hearts. It's tied intimately to regime and social stability, and China has a history of famines and food crises catalyzing political upheaval. So securing a stable food supply really is an economic and political imperative. Hi, I'm McElwee, Deputy Director and Fellow in the Freeman Chair in China Studies, and I'm here to talk about my recent brief with Kevin Dong, Mallie Prytherch, Patricia Kim, Jude Blanchette, and Ryan Haas, China's Food Security, Key Challenges and Emerging Policy Responses. This brief is part of a joint CSIS Brookings project exploring space for U.S.-China coordination on matters of shared concern amid intensified geostrategic rivalry. What we wanted to do in this brief was detail China's pursuit of food security, highlighting key trends, challenges, and policy measures, along with their impacts on the United States and the international system. Food security is an issue that's really near and dear to Chinese leaders' hearts. It's tied intimately to regime and social stability, and China has a history of famines and food crises catalyzing political upheaval. So securing a stable food supply really is an economic and political imperative. Yet China's challenge here is pretty sizable. China must feed nearly 20% of the global population despite being home to less than 10% of the world's arable land and 6% of the world's water resources. Beijing has made great strides in reducing the share of the population facing undernourishment, which fell from around 10% in 2001 to around 2.5% by 2010, but it still faces a host of challenges. And what we do in this paper is look at the prioritization of food security as an issue under Xi Jinping, and then look at some of the challenges that China faces in securing a more stable food supply. So under Xi Jinping, we've really seen greater emphasis on self-sufficiency within food security, mirroring China's policies in the technology space, and then more of a national security lens taken to the issue of China's food security. We have seen China try to combat some of the key issues that it faces, which are really quite numerous when it comes to feeding its population. These range from inefficient agricultural practices, so declining arable land, the fact that China's agricultural landscape is comprised mostly of small family farms. This type of fragmentation really limits the spread of agricultural technology, for example. Supply chain logistics are another challenge. Changing consumption habits are one as well, right? So China has a rising middle class, increasing exposure to global cultures, and consumption of meat has more than tripled since 1990. So the diets of the Chinese population are changing as well. Water scarcity is another issue. China has pronounced geographical disparities in water resources across its geography. And, many grain producing provinces are actually quite water scarce in China. So that's another one. Domestic environmental degradation is something that a lot of countries are dealing with right now. And China has had its own share of food safety scandals. In 2008, there was a big one around the adulteration of baby formula with melamine, which sickened nearly 300,000 infants. So China really faces a host of challenges here, and we elaborate these challenges in the brief, and we look at some of China's emerging policy responses under the Xi administration. To read the full brief, China's Food Security, Key Challenges and Emerging Policy Responses, please visit csis.org.